Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I am here with the one and only George Wallace. Welcome to the Rock Comedy Podcast, Rock Comedy Tour Podcast. I'm on the road right now, and I am lucky right now. I am talking to George Wallace. Man, great to meet you.
You are real lucky because I don't talk to anybody that I don't know. And today is my first time meeting you. I just like the name Mike Young. That just sounds good.
Yeah,
Mike Young. So you better
sure.
talk and you better talk fast because I do all the time. I'm
I
crazy.
mean, you listen, for a comedian, this is a moment, right? Like, you are a craftsman, you're a legend in the game. I'm not going to spend the whole time pumping you up, but all the young comedians coming up at the Comedy Store always knew you were one of the best to ever do it. And are you still enjoying the journey that you've been on for quite a while right now?
Are you crazy, Mike? Let me tell you something.
Yeah,
I
I
am
am.
so blessed. How many people live their passion? I wanted to be a comedian since 6 years old. Can you believe that? Went to college and did everything to make money. You're not going to believe this. I used to be vice president of the world's largest outdoor advertising agency. Everything at Times Square, the billboards and the spectaculars there at Times Square. I was vice president of that company. We put up the smoking, we had coffee, we had cigarettes. A man named Douglas Lee that invented the drop ball, the crystal thing, he invented that years ago. And so it was the Douglas Lee outdoor advertising. So that's what I used to do before becoming a comedian. I was trying to get a financial cushion, Mike, and I saved up some money. I was in 1976, before I started coming, I was making like $75,000 a year back then. And people say, "You're going to lay that and to go to and let that go and become a comedian?" I didn't care. I want to be a comedian. And after 1976, going on to Catch a Rising Star, man, a little Jewish boy. That's another thing. I'm so blessed. My best friend is the richest comedian in comedy today. Can you
I
believe
mean,
that?
I know who
And I'm
that
not going to
is.
tell you. I'm not going to tell you who he is, but he's an idiot. That's all I'm going to say. He's an idiot. I'll put it like this: he did probably the number one sitcom of all time. Um, he's still my best friend. My name is George. I'm not going to tell you his name, but I'm the real George on the show that he created. I'm the roommate for 13 years. I am best man in his wedding, and I'm the father of his kids. Let's put it like that. That's how close we are.
This,
I,
this is
I'm
so
not going to
great
mention
to
his name,
hear.
but I'm not going to mention his name, but
I
he's
can
rich.
mention it. I mean, I can mention it because it is what it is. You're the original George in the Seinfeld show. I
You
mean, they made you white, they scrunched you down, and they made George the roommate for 13 years.
scrunch. That's
You're the original.
how about that scrunch? That's how I come up with new jokes. You don't hear the word crunch too much. Let me write down
Write it down,
scrunch.
scrunched.
They
They
scrunched.
scrunched. You're gonna get a good strong laugh out of that.
Hey, Mike, but guess what? I'm 6'4". They scrunched me down.
By the way, so you quit a job for 75,000 a year back in the 70s because you were going to make it, or it wasn't even a thought to you. You just said,
Never,
comedy
never
is my
thought.
passion. Move out of the way. Thank you, finance people, for giving me a cushion. I'll see you when I'm on TV, movies, and running everything in Vegas for the rest of my life.
Isn't that great? Never a thought. It was always, it wasn't, I want to be, you can't, I didn't want to be a comedian. I got to be a comedian. I got to, there's no question about it. And I'm doing it for 48 years now. 1976, Jerry Seinfeld, I wasn't going to mention his name, but we walked on stage, Catch a Rising Star in 1976. And to this day, we are still best friends. I can't get rid of him.
You know what? It makes total sense. I've met Seinfeld only a few times, but his attitude towards comedy and the art of it is exactly how you sound. I am a
I,
comedian. There was no thought about it. I'm not thinking, you know what I mean, about six other jobs. I am going into this life. I want to make a living doing what I love, and it's a simple thought. And it's funny, man. Black Jerry.
Let me tell you
There you
something.
go.
Since
There
you're a
you
young
go.
comedian, since you're a young comedian talking about, I don't know what I just did.
Oh,
Uh,
George, you might have hit your thumb on something.
are you still there?
I'm there.
Stay there. Don't move. I'm still with you. Uh, my telephone is acting up a bit. I'm hitting the wrong button here for some reason. I'm trying
Maybe
to stay with me. Don't go away. Okay.
I'm with you.
Why? I'm hitting cancel and it won't go away. What is that?
You
Just
might have
start.
you might have answered a call. Maybe
I did
hit.
something wrong, but you're with me, right?
I'm with you. Hit the don't answer button.
I got that in there too. I got that in too, but I'm bringing you back. Please don't go away. Please
I'm
don't go
not going
away.
anywhere, George. I don't get to talk to George Wallace every day. I know I'm lucky.
You're real lucky. And matter of fact, can we go in and come out? Can you ask your producer, can I do that?
Dave, can he go in and out and call right back on?
You got a deal. I'm gonna do that immediately, okay?
Right now. Okay.
I should have hit
Oh, there you
save.
are.
Oh, wait, what did I just do?
George.
It might
George.
be on, it might be on your end.
No, we didn't touch anything.
Okay,
Dave,
let me,
Dave, you didn't touch anything, right?
what did I do?
It might be his connection.
Okay, I'm gonna go in and come back out.
Okay, go in, come back out.
I know we're still connected because we're talking.
Yeah, it's going great. And there you are again.
I, I look so, I look so good. I know y'all missed me. No, listen, I was getting ready to tell you about wanting to be a comedian, and you don't have to worry about going to the top of the mountain. Just be on your way up the mountain. As long as you're on the mountain, you're gonna do well. You hear what I'm saying? You don't have to make all the
Absolutely.
money in the world like Seinfeld. You can make George Wallace money and be happy.
Oh, you could be real happy with George Wallace money. That's 48 years of doing great. Are you kidding?
Exactly.
George, in your earliest days, was Catch a Rising Star the first place you played? Was that your go-to club?
Get the Rising Star was my go-to club. David Say, and the first guy that brought me on stage was not William, starts with a B. Tall, skinny guy was on Law and
Belzer?
Order.
Belzer.
Belzer, Richard Belzer, yeah.
How did I get that?
Because you knew who were emceeing back in the day. Belzer, Richard Belzer. He brought me on stage. Then David Say, and then Bill Maher, and we're still around working, enjoying
Wow.
life.
Was that your class?
Yes, Richard Belzer was my Larry David was my class.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah, and so we're all still working. How about that?
It's incredible. It's blessed. George, when you guys were coming up, my I knew I wanted to be a comedian. I came from Detroit. Didn't have any like examples in Detroit about being a comedian. I just knew, like you said, in sixth grade, I wanted to be a comedian. One day I was gonna do it. Fell in love with comics, TV, the whole thing. But I also fell in love with the lifestyle. Back then, were you guys going to the diner after kicking it after every set, like really living that late night life?
Listen, we were networking. We didn't use the word networking at the time, but we would go to the Green Kitchen, which was next block over from Catch a Rising Star. You know, the shows didn't end until 4 o'clock in the morning.
I love
So
that.
we would go, all of us would get together and go next door to the diner and have breakfast, and we would um, network and associate with each other and work on our jokes, premises, and also we say somebody needs somebody at this club over in Jersey, over in Orange, New Jersey, whatever. But we had it all together. We loved each other, and we worked together all those years. It was amazing. That's why we're really good friends. And plus, I had a
Yeah.
car. I had a car. If
Ah,
you got a car, everybody wants to be your friend. So
yeah.
therefore, I could drive them. And Paul Reiser used to have a car. He would take us to those gigs, to the Roundhouse Steakhouse, the Roundhouse something over in Jersey. So we did all of that stuff and enjoyed life back in the day. It was really working to be a comedian. I think some of you guys, you do a set and you go home now, but we would never
Right.
do that. Yeah, we
Right.
would never
I
do that.
love
Always have to hang.
I like the late night hang. I love the late hang in LA. It's Mel's Diner. I love to take the notebook, still go over jokes.
Yes,
I like the whole thing.
I
Listen,
did it again. I apologize.
yeah, it's okay. Are you touching a button? There you are.
I'm
Doesn't
doing
even
something
matter.
stupid. I know what I'm doing now. I won't do it again.
Okay, okay. Don't even worry about it, man. But I think the life is something that you got to be okay with. Like, was Larry David coming up? Was he okay with the life, or did he quickly have to go to writing because he knew the life itself wasn't for him?
Larry David's been crazy all his life. He'd be on stage telling a new joke or doing a new set, and if the audience didn't get it, he'd just wave his hand and walk off.
He just leave the stage.
Just leave the stage, and we go, what is the anger about tonight? You know? And but always a great guy, always funny, and Is that amazing? And doing what he loves to do also.
Yeah. I think it keeps you sane. I think it keeps you healthy for a long period of time. And man,
Right. It
it's
keep you healthy. It's the greatest medicine in the world. Laughter is the best medicine. And that's why now it's also free medicine. That's why
yes,
we encourage people to overdose on laughter. Do you
yes.
know you can't even fake a smile without feeling better? Look at you smiling right now and you feel good.
Yeah, you're right. I forget about everything. Just
Everything.
the muscles smile and you're good.
Oh man. What
Dr.
happens on
Wallace,
stage? What happens on stage when we don't feel good? We go out, we do a great set. We feel like, oh my God, that was the greatest medicine in the world. And the
isn't it
headache says,
amazing?
come on, come on, I'm still with you.
Uh-huh.
But at that moment,
It leaves you for an hour.
leaves him an hour. I said, come on, I'm back. But I tell you what, there's nothing better than laughter. And I love what I do, and seeing happy people makes me happier.
Let me ask you, when you're locked in you're at the Flamingo now in Vegas for many years. You were, right? How many years?
I was, yes.
You were there for what, 19 years?
15 years.
15 years.
I was at the Flamingo for 10 years, and then they called me back, and I went over to the Westgate, and I said, okay, I'll try it again. And I owned the show, so I didn't work for the hotels.
Oh,
So you talk
nice.
about some black history. I'm the only black man to own a show for Walling. I did all of the marketing. I did, of course, the advertising. I knew because I was an advertising man, so I knew how to get free billboards out of the billboard companies. And I would go in and buy six and make them give me six. They said, we can't do that. I said, the hell you can't. You got boards open everywhere. Nobody's on those boards. Do what I do, and other customers will follow you. I'm the first person in Las Vegas to put 5 advertising trucks going up and down Las Vegas Boulevard, back to back to back to back to back. People say,
Wow.
that's so stupid. Why would you put all the trucks back to back to back to back to back to back? I said, why would you ask me about it? Got your attention, didn't it?
By the way, George, they might rehire you back at the ad agency.
Well,
I mean,
I could go back to the ad agency tomorrow, no question about it. But you know what I do now? Nothing is. I stay at home and go where I want to go when I want to go, and I do what I want to do. I travel all over the world. I've done comedy all over the world, and I love doing it. I
that's
don't
so
mind flying either. My first degree
that's
was in transportation. I don't mind flying. I don't mind getting on an airplane. Some people hate the flying part, the travel part. I don't.
Let me ask you something. When you were an advertising bigwig over there making a bunch of money,
Big wig, big, big, big.
did you later on did you apply your advertising knowledge to your stand-up game? Because you could be a great advertising guy and a mediocre comedian, but you're a great comedian and you were an advertising exec. Did you apply any of the advertising tricks of the trade into sort of building your brand? Did that
That's
come into
how
play?
I that's how I stayed in Las Vegas for so long. For the first year, let me tell you, I invested in me and my show. I didn't take any money from my show, no earnings. I put it back into the streets. We call it putting your business in the streets. So that's how I paid for all of the advertising. The advertising kept me in business, and people would know that I was in town because most of everybody else had a TV show or movie, but not me, George Wallace. Where the hell he come from? But the word got out. I had to go to your name doesn't mean anything in Las Vegas unless you're a superstar
Uh-huh.
back in the day. So I had to go to every timeshare. They sold a lot of timeshares. I went to every hotel, to every concierge, and concierge invited them to the show to see what the product was. Next thing you know, they know who to send to my show.
I
And
am
so,
taking I'm taking so many bits from this for my
so
own knowledge.
yes, I went to every hotel. See, I'm thinking about going to Honolulu, Hawaii, and maybe starting a show there because they have no advertising there. I mean, they have no show, no real show in
Right.
Honolulu. And I could do that. It's just so far away. And I'm telling everybody, do you know Honolulu is not in America? I don't give a damn what they say, Mike. Honolulu, if you fly 3,000 miles over the ocean, you are not in America. They
At
don't
all.
even breathe. Have you been to Hawaii?
Yes.
They don't even breathe America. They don't breathe American air. When you get
No.
off the airplane, you go, ooh.
No. It's all
Or it's-
pineapples, trees.
so
It's the freshest air you could have.
no matter what the books say, Hawaii is not in America.
We don't pay attention to the books. We're comedians.
Right, right.
We make
So,
our own book.
but yes, so it's just good, just taking what I know in advertising and business world. That's why I was in Las Vegas for so long. Like I told you, I would do the advertising. I would say I knew the tricks in advertising, radio. Plus, I'm a radio person also.
Okay.
So I
I
did
see that.
radio. I did radio in New York City, WBLS. I was #1 in Chicago, WGCI. I did Atlanta and Washington, D.C. So the media, I just love talking. Plus, I was doing all of the talk shows, Tonight Show, Arsenio Hall, every talk show, Oprah. I did
Yeah.
everything, and I'm still doing it.
Were you doing radio? Were you #1 in radio while you were doing comedy? Did you fit that into your mix?
#1 in Chicago. And on the weekends, I'd be on that airplane and I'd be in another city. Sometimes I would be on radio with the technology. I would be on radio and I would be on the airplane at the same time. I got to be at the airport listening to me, and people would go, WGCI. And people, how you do that? Technology. And I just loved it, and just life is
I love
good.
that. I love that because I've actually thought, I've been asked to like co-host some TV stuff, and I always think as long as I could get out on the weekend for comedy, I would do this gig. You know what I mean?
And guess what I'm doing right now? Matter of fact, this is the reason I'm calling to talk to you. I got a brand new show coming out February 6th. I'm celebrating, we call it Black History Month. I have a brand new show called Clean Slate. Clean Slate. I'm honored to have shared this executive producer title with the great late Norman Lear. Norman Lear
Wow.
passed away. I wanted to reboot Sanford and Son. And I went to do that to talk to him. I have the hair, even though now people are saying with my hair, I look like Lou Nail's mama. But but I wanted to reboot Sanford and Son. I went to Norman Lear. He says, "Well, come up with a great idea." And back in the day, Vern Cox was hot on Orange is the New Black. And I don't watch a lot of television. Why?
Yeah.
Because I'm on stage every night at 8 o'clock.
Right.
I don't get to watch TV, but I heard a lot about it. And the thought was that, oh my God, why don't I do Sanford and Son? Let's do a version Sanford and Daughter. What if I had a son that lived with me? My mom died at 16, so we put that in there. My wife died at 16, and my son, his mom died at 16. So he went to New York City, where you live right now, to do his thing. And 23 years later, I get a call that says, "Dad, I'm coming home." 23 years, I flip out, tell the whole community, my son is coming home, because I thought that was great. I haven't seen my son in 23 years. Ding dong, next day I go to the door, the most beautiful lady you've ever seen in your life. I said, "Lady, if you're selling Avon, if you're selling the Watchtower, I'm not buying today. You're beautiful, but my son is coming home. I apologize." She says, "Dad, it's me."
Whoa. Are you at the scrap? You still got the scrap metal going? Still the yard, the Sanford and Son yard?
I go, "No, I own a car wash like I did in the movie The Wash."
Okay.
But my house is junky, and I'm still living back when she left the house. I got everything is the same. So the trailer's out right now. Hope you get to watch the trailer and see what's happening there. I'll send it to you if you didn't see it. I'll send the trailer
100%.
to you. Yeah. And so what has happened? Laverne Cox is now my daughter. My son is now my daughter, which has always been my daughter, but I didn't know it. And like I said, she
Wow.
can. And so now I'm being educated as a dad. I don't accept it, but I learned to accept it. Why? That is my child. You got to learn to
Wow.
live and let live, love and let love. And I have been so educated. And because many kids leave home for many reasons, could be child abuse, could be drug abuse. I don't know, but we're tackling these issues. This is real life that we have to deal with and learn and be educated to. Most of all, it's about love, learning to love and live and let people be who they want to be. And I'm proud to be a part of this show. And I'm learning. Sometimes I don't get the pronouns right or whatever, but I'm learning, and America's learning with me. But the most important thing is that I want you to know, if I make a mistake and call you the wrong name, I'm here to learn. Correct me, and most people will accept that.
I could tell you got a great heart, George. And it's funny, you mentioned
You
Norman
don't know
Lear.
me. I'm the meanest man you ever seen in your life.
No, I could tell. I
I
could
can't even
tell,
fake
bro.
it. I
I could
can't fake
tell.
it.
You can't fake it at all, but you've been smiling the whole time you've been talking. You can't fake it, man. But
Well,
Norman Lear, go ahead.
go ahead, Norman Lear.
No, I was gonna say Norman Lear, as a kid growing up and just watching television, I would, my parents would leave us with a babysitter. I would watch television shows and I would see this name, Norman Lear. I didn't know who
Always,
he was. I didn't know what it was. But I swear to you, I used to think to myself, God, I hope I could meet this guy, Norman Lear, that's making all these amazing TV shows that I'm watching. And in LA, rest in peace, Bob Saget. I opened for Bob for 12 years.
He
I
was
would,
an idiot. You
yeah,
worked with him. He was an idiot. I
yeah,
hate him.
yeah,
He would call me at 3 o'clock in the morning. I can't stand him. Even if he's dead today, I don't like his dead ass today.
he
Do
would
you
be
know?
loving this.
Oh my God,
He would be loving.
the dirtiest comedian ever. Oh, I met, love it. I went to his home in Philadelphia. I met his mom Dolly and his dad
Yeah,
Ben. Oh my God, do you know how great he was? Oh my, his kids. I love me some Bob Saget. Oh my God,
yeah,
and
George.
Gary Shandling. Oh, we grew up together,
I
and
can
Dave Coulier. All
imagine.
of us grew up together. And Dave Coulier is ill right now.
I know.
When Bob died, when Gary died, I told I called Dave Coulier. Comedians will say anything. So I
Of
told
course.
Dave Coulier, I said, "You nervous as a son of a bitch right now, right? Because I say it happens in threes, you know." So, but with Gary Shandling and Bob
Yeah,
Saget and oh my guys,
your
that's another
guys.
class.
So Bob introduced me to Norman Lear, and I was like, "Thank you so
No
much,
way.
Bob."
You got to meet him.
I got to meet him.
That's great.
I
That's
got to
great.
meet him. I got to meet him at one of those parties up in the hills somewhere, and they had and Norman was super. He was probably 98 years old, but more alive than everybody at the party at the time.
Exactly.
And
If you want to
those
live
were
a
the
long
days.
time, if you want to live a long time, like Norman Lear and George Wallace, the secret is wearing a cap.
A cap and some cool glasses. Norman had cool glasses.
I got to get his glasses. You have on a cap, so you're on your way, okay?
Yo, I'm gonna rock a cap from here on out if that's the secret.
Rock it out. That is the secret, man. And I
The
tell you
cap
what,
plus
I,
comedy.
I'm glad you got to meet Norman Lear. Not many people get to meet him. As we
Um,
introduced the show to the idea to different studios from Sony to everyone, everybody would come down, everybody, because they wanted to meet Norman Lear.
of
And
course.
we just the man that just awesome, just meeting with me. I've known him for 40 years. And
I read his book. I read his book, the book about his life, his autobiography that he wrote.
isn't that
And
nice?
and I thought it was super interesting that his dad was a hustler, and his uncles were kind of hustlers. And he came from this kind of a family where he wasn't like a privileged kid. He was like a street kid whose, dad was kind of disappearing for, months at a time, and uncle was in a shady business, would come over with cash. And I always
Right?
thought his writing reflected what he came from. And
Never,
he was no stiff, you know what I mean? This was not a stiff upbringing. This was a loose kind of, I'm from Detroit. I think he was New York. I'm pretty sure he was New York from what I from
yes.
remember reading. And it was like a real kind of a street upbringing. And I don't know how you came up in Atlanta. I don't know if it was a strict household.
I come up in a very strict house. So I come up with a mom and dad. Thank God. No, I come to, I rode the back of the bus
Wow.
as a kid. Yeah. So I've gone through a lot. I was at Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s funeral. I'm so blessed, man. I was just in Louisville, Kentucky last week. I went to the Muhammad Ali Museum. You talking about great. This is one of the greatest men I ever met in my life. And
Wow.
man, like you think of Norman Lear, I love Norman Lear, but Muhammad Ali is the man I got to meet and hang with. That's one of the greatest men ever.
Wow. I'm going to that museum.
You gotta go. You gotta go.
100%. I can imagine what they have there. Are they showing videos of his classic fights along with,
You can get it. You can fight with him. You can fight. They got a
you can fight
board.
Ali?
You can fight Ali. Yeah, it's
I
so
don't want to
great,
fight
man.
Ali.
It's so great. You're just gonna love this. You're gonna love it.
I can't wait. I used to, I had uncles that my great uncles were boxers back in the day, back in the 40s and 50s. And so boxing was in my family. So I love
So
Muhammad Ali. So
you know why you like Muhammad Ali? You know why we love Muhammad Ali? They said what kind of humanitarian, but he was also one of the best comedians.
yes, he was a comedian. He was one of the best comics, one of the best rappers, one of the best poets. He was an entertainer at the highest level.
Just great, right?
He was, yeah, he was beyond great. I'm sure you got to spend some real time with those guys. I mean,
And I know his kids. May she wanted to become a comedian. I know his
yeah,
kids. Yeah, it's amazing that That's why I just love him and what he did, and he stood up for his own rights, to be the man he wanted to be. But most of all, the greatest comedian ever, and we just not ever, but he was a great comedian,
Right.
humanitarian, and
He's no
spoke to the
George
people.
Wallace in the comedy game, but he could, you know what I mean? He was,
I don't know, he's one of the
yeah,
greatest of all time, and to
yeah,
be
yeah.
able to share that. So when you go to Louisville, make sure you do go visit that museum.
100% I'm going. I didn't even know it was finished. I didn't even know did they renovate it? Is it new? Like I didn't
It's
even hear about
new
it.
and it's large. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and it's only a 4 hour. I'll be in Detroit next week, so maybe I'll take it's only a 5 hour drive to Louisville, actually.
Well, you should fly. You shouldn't be driving 5 hours. It is worth it, though. It is worth it. Okay, you're going
You
back
know,
home. Stop by and say hello to my family in Detroit. We own the largest funeral home.
do you?
Yeah, we own James Cole Funeral Home in Detroit. So
I've
stop by and
heard
say
of
hello.
it.
Yeah,
That's your family?
It's right next door to the museum, the Motown Museum. Yeah, that's my family.
They just renovated Motown Museum. It's actually incredible. They
So
put
that's
millions
where,
of
yeah,
dollars into it.
you'll enjoy the museum and you'll enjoy the funeral home.
George, how many siblings you have? How many kids were in your family?
I don't know how to use the word siblings. There's seven. So
You
I
can
have
write
six
it down.
siblings.
It'll be funny.
I have six siblings, right? So there's seven kids. So is
Okay,
that six
seven
siblings?
kids. Yeah, that's six. You got six.
Yeah, yeah. And let me tell you something. I'm from the most blessed family you've ever met. I have seven Super Bowl rings in my family. Did you know that?
I knew you had a couple from your brother that played for San Fran.
Yeah.
I
And
didn't know there were other ones.
my nephew, Money Tuma, played right there in New York City for the New York Giants. Money Tuma.
Oh, wow, that's your
And
nephew?
that's him, number 81. That's him. And Bobby Hamilton played for the New England Patriots. So my mama played football, by the way.
Did
Everybody
she?
played football.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was a don't talk back. You got a running back, fullback, and a don't talk back. So
Yo, let me ask you something. Speaking of don't talk back, when it comes to material, new material, do you still follow the same writing regimen that you had for years? Or do you come up with, what's your process when it comes to coming up with jokes? There you go, my man, the yellow legal pad.
if they're not on this path, they're not legal. You're right. Most young kids your age, they use the telephone. But Seinfeld and you saw the Seinfeld special where he
Yeah.
had all his papers across the street.
George, I got all my new bits I want to run for my hour right here. Boom.
We can run
Write it
them right
down.
now. I got mine too. I just wrote the word scrunch down. And what
Yo,
else
you're
am I doing?
welcome.
I'm trying to do something on pillows right now. No, the P word. I'm doing the P word right now. It's
Oh,
too
yeah?
much. And when you turn TV on, there's too much pillows, pots and pans, all kinds of pills for ED. And you got, what else I got down there? I put down Puff Daddy. So there's too much PD. By the
Yeah.
way, I hope Puff Daddy gets 30 years. Let me write that down. Puff Daddy, 30 years. Sean Puppy Combs, give him 50 years.
Yeah.
P. Diddy, give him 40 years.
Yep.
Uh, and
Mount it all up.
yeah, round all up, because out of all the entertainers in the world, he never invited me to one of those parties. The hell with him. Lock his ass up forever.
Lock his
I
ass
would,
up. George doesn't get invited to a freak off?
I would have gone.
Of course, bro. They got lotion for days.
I got my own lotion. I ain't wearing.
They got they got
Listen,
everything.
a thousand bottles of lotion. You'd have been slipping and sliding, peeping and hiding, not knowing what you're doing, but you'd be
Yeah.
up in there.
You'd have had your slip and slide. If
Ooh,
Diddy didn't
exactly.
have a slip and slide. Oh my God, George, that is too funny. You've met everybody, man. I'm sure I mean, at this point, you've met everybody. You and Jerry still talk fairly often?
That's who's been interrupting this call.
Tell him to relax. I'll see him at Gotham.
But we were at Gotham Wednesday night.
I saw the picture. I got
Are
in
you
town.
serious?
I'm so upset. I got in town to New York Tuesday. I saw your picture Wednesday of you guys on stage. Legendary picture. I'm playing Gotham this weekend, Friday and Saturday.
That's awesome, dude.
Man,
Someone asked me, this is George. I'm sneaking into the city, right? And this is George. Are you in town? I said no. They said yes.
yeah, you
They
are.
said we just saw you on stage last night, man. So social media is crazy, right?
Yeah, but isn't it amazing that you guys walk in and the people that got to go to that show and didn't know you guys were popping up, they get to have the night of their life?
It
You know
was
what I mean?
really good. He goes on, he does a few minutes, he bring me up. I do for minutes. Then I bring my son up. My son has never done comedy, and I want you to really greet him. I bring up Jim Wallace, Jim Gaffigan, Jim Gaffigan.
That's funny.
So they had a great show Wednesday night in New York.
And you
And
guys all just popped in because you called each other and said, "Hey, man, I'll meet you at the club."
pop, 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 yeah. And we just go in. And we put our work in. You just can't walk into a club and go on if you haven't put your time in. You know, we built these clubs, and thank God they give us the respect
Oh
and put us
yeah.
on when we walk in.
Hey, you just showed me the yellow legal pad. I know the work is still getting done. I think it's amazing.
Hey, you know what? Isn't
What?
it amazing to do a new joke? Now, I'm different. I'm kind of like with the Johnny Carson era. If I do it, my favorite joke is the worst joke that got no laugh. That's my favorite joke. I just
Oh,
love it. And I go like, when I do my jokes on stage, I will do, here's a new joke. I did it at the Gotham the other night. Joke worked real good. I just write on the legal pad, real good. I did the second joke. Needs work, needs work. Then I did the third joke. Joke's funny, audience sucks. They go berserk. They go berserk over that. So the legal pad, and you got your jokes there. That's a big sheet you have there. That would be
yeah,
nice to take on stage one night. Listen to me. When you do your, this is a great opening. When you do your next special,
yeah.
take that pad out there with you and show the people this is how I do it.
You think?
This is how I do it. Yeah, and they would
I
love
can't.
that because they
I
don't know
can't.
the process. You know, I did this 30 years ago. I did it on Arsenio Hall. I went out with my legal pad. I said I got to try some new jokes tonight. I'm doing Letterman next week. I got to make sure this stuff works. And
Hilarious.
he loved it. He loved it.
Of
So
course. I mean, listen, I don't have the memory to be able to memorize all this, so I kind of have to take it up sometimes and reference the bits. You know what I mean? Just to look down, remember. I'm trying all the memory tricks, the memory palace they talk about. I'm trying all of it, but I don't have the. I got to get my memory tighter because I'm still doing jokes from 10 years ago that I love, but
there's
I'm
nothing
like,
wrong. Is it funny? Listen,
yes.
after 48 years, we decided the other day, if I do some jokes I did back in 1975, I'm going to try them on stage and I'll do that. Joke's still funny, 30 years old, and that is great. I used to do a joke about the personalized license plates in Los Angeles. And I was driving behind a lady once and a license plate said C-U-T-I-T-I. C-U-T-I-T-I. And I couldn't figure it out. And then it hit me because I wear my thinking cap. It's cutie pie. Cutie pie. I said, let me pull up, inch up next to her, see, take a look. And I get up and I said, oh my God, she must have stole this car. And I and I try it out every now and then. I bring a joke back like that, and bam. And
Yo,
it's
you
just
need to.
joke's still funny. Joke's still funny. And every night I go on in Los Angeles at the Comedy Store, I open my show by doing the first joke I did when I got to Los Angeles in '76. When
Wow.
Seinfeld and I showed up, we drove across country in 1977, and that's the first joke I saw. It's a racist joke
Wow.
too. It's a racist joke. Yeah.
I
The
mean,
biggest street, you live in Los Angeles, the biggest street there is one of the biggest streets. Wilshire is first, and then we got La Cienega.
uh-huh.
But when I first got there, I mispronounced La Cienega
Uh-oh.
to La Cienega. So
Yeah.
that's not what I said the first time. And I tell the white people, do not repeat that joke.
No,
But I do it
no
every time
repeat.
I go on stage. They love it. They love it.
That's so because I always think about how long till you retire a joke. And like all these comedians are doing specials every year, but that's why your special's not great. You don't
Ooh,
have it.
ooh,
By the
ooh.
way, no, I'm being serious though. Like,
Yeah, I understand.
I'm not pointing fingers at specific comedians, but I'm saying to master a material in 1 year, I think is difficult. Oh, I think you hit something. I can't hear you. There you go. Can you hear
I,
me?
yes, I can.
Okay.
Apologize. Technology, what's the right word? I'm not computer savvy, and so sometimes I don't know. Right now, I should have hit focus and do not disturb, but I didn't do that. I have to apologize to you.
That's
That was
okay.
that was him. That was him calling again. He's wondering where the hell am I? Why am I not picking up?
Yo,
He
tell
can wait.
Jerry I'll meet you guys at Gotham later. By the way,
Right.
one of my highlights of my life was that I made Jerry laugh. I opened for Sebastian at the at Gotham for those 16 shows about 4 years ago. that run
Yeah.
we had. And so Jerry obviously came to a bunch of shows.
Yes.
And we just got to, I'm still kind of starstruck with certain, a lot of people, but I was able to kind of have that talk with him, and I got Jerry laughing in the hallway of Gotham. Oh man, I lost you, George. I think I lost George. He might have literally, if we don't get George back in the next 35 seconds, I'm going to say that was an amazing interview talking to George Wallace. And we're going to wrap up this Rock Comedy Tour podcast and await our next guest.